Hey everybody, it's Scott from Bonefish Sailing, and for a tip today, I'm actually going to post this in the comments because it's far too complicated to cover in a 3-minute video. But I'm going to run through how you bleed a diesel engine when you're having a fuel feed problem. So, in general, to quickly cover it, and sometime I'll show some details on the engine itself, but just as a kind of quickie, typically you are going to have a line that goes from your fuel tank through a primary fuel filter that will have a shut-off valve, usually before the filter, so you can replace it, and then is going to run through sometimes a secondary filter, oftentimes a secondary filter, going to the engine, and when it reaches the engine, you'll on older boats usually have a manual fuel pump. On the diesel engine, on a lot of the newer engines, you'll still have a manual fuel pump as opposed to an electric one. However, you may have an electric fuel pump that's located somewhere between the engine, the fuel tank, and the engine. And once it reaches the engine, you're going to have a that manual fuel pump, as I said, typically. Then you're going to have another fuel filter. You will often have a fuel shutoff solenoid, which can get stuck, which will be in the checklist of things that I post in the comments, and even sometimes another fuel filter on the system, and lines that run to each cylinder. And you're going to have bleed screws throughout the system at different points, and then at every cylinder there'll be a bleed screw where you take some kind of can to catch the fuel, but where you need to make sure, if you're having a fuel feed issue, that you're getting fuel from each of the bleed screws at every single cylinder. So, as I said, I'll post a pretty extensive set of steps that I would go through if you're ever having a fuel feed issue on a diesel engine. So, please like and subscribe, and stay safe there out on the water, and take care.